skills. That's beast. Jacob, do a skill that one round your leg. Do the one round your leg, Jacob.
Oh, that meant to happen. Yeah, it meant to. Oh, the string's too wet.
Somebody who didn't know who he was.
Skills.